We are here for Training Tuesday. It is a beautiful sunshiny day. Well, I take that back. It is a beautiful sunshiny afternoon, evening on the East Coast because it was raining this morning. And if you were talking to me at all earlier today, I was just complaining about the rain because it's coming at unexpected times, and it's not like, sweet summer rain. It's like yesterday we were getting slammed with downpours. But right now, I'm going to have a moment of gratitude. The sun is shining and it's beautiful out, and my yard is green, and I've got some lilies coming up, so it's all good. It is all good. But you are not here to talk about the weather or my yard. You are here to talk about 5 simple steps to do really hard things. It is Training Tuesday, and that is why we're here. And tonight I am going to just dive into it. Let's just dive into this. And one of the reasons I wanted to tackle this is because I talk about mindset a lot. when we're in this group, and if you guys have been to Training Tuesday regularly, you know I talk about mindset a lot because the truth is that it all happens up here, right? It really does all happen up here. If we don't feel good in our bodies and in our emotions and in our minds, we don't perform well. So as I talk about mindset, I talk about self-care a lot, and I'm a huge proponent of self-care. And you guys are here, you're all high performers. And as high performers, you know that you have to take optimal care of your physical self, your mental self, your emotional self, so that you can be productive. You can be brilliant at work and an amazing partner and a wonderful, nurturing mother, and all the roles that we play during the day and at night. And we have to take care of ourselves to be able to do that and do it well. So I encourage you guys regularly, in fact, almost every Training Tuesday, somewhere in my list of 3 or 5 or 6 or whatever things for you to do as we are tackling leadership skills and confidence building skills and get rid of the imposter and things like that, there is typically at least 1 or 2 elements of self-care. Take care of yourself, right? Get the rest, breathe, do the yoga, do retail therapy, have your girls' night, take a bubble bath, right? I am all about whatever you need to do to recharge and reset. But sometimes you got to stop. Sometimes we have to stop the rumination that self-care can instigate in us. We have to stop repeating the mantra. We have to stop the yoga routines, stop the bubble baths, and just say it's enough. And then we got to go do the thing. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, for any of you who are joining for the first time, hello and welcome to Training Tuesday. My name is Natalie Hahn. I am CEO of Dirty Girls Consulting and your coach in this group, Accelerating Leadership for Professional Women. And I'm thrilled to have you here as we are here every Tuesday night to talk about how we build confidence, how we build our leadership skills, smart strategies for navigating office politics, right? Anything about expanding and accelerating your career and therefore your life. That is what we're here for. So, in that vein, I invite you to join us tonight and every Tuesday. I invite you to say hello in the comments, say who you are, where you're from, say hello to each other, support each other. And my dashboard, just to give you guys a warning, is doing something really goofy because it's telling me their comments. Oh, there we go. It wasn't showing me any comments at all. So if I miss your comments, just know that Facebook's acting funky tonight. So I see. Here we go. We've got Joyce and Jackie and Terry and Judy. Hello, ladies. It's great to see you tonight. And yes, Terry, that is true. Self-care does often get put on the back burner. So what I'm going to talk about tonight are the extremes that we can sometimes swing to because, and actually, let me just start with that, right? So I have a wonderful tendency, a wonderful is sarcastic, to fall into the workaholic category. I have been doing this my entire adult life. I probably did it as a kid, but I don't know if we have workaholics as a kid. I just was very into grades and studying and school, and I was the nerd who did extra projects that teachers didn't ask for. I was that kid. So, as an adult and pushing through my career, I fell into the bad habit of getting so wrapped up in work that I wasn't cooking proper, healthy, regular meals. I wasn't cooking well at all. In fact, for me, when I'm in my workaholic mode, when I'm finally thinking about food, I'll go scavenge in the fridge, and it's usually like eggs and cold cuts because that's what I typically have on hand. When I'm in this mode, I don't make time for working out. In my head, it's always, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week. And I'm still beating myself up in the back of my head for not doing it, but I'm in this grind mode of doing the things and getting it accomplished. I'm in this achievement mode of getting things done. And so, like Terry was saying, right, exercise gets put on the back burner. My social life gets put on the back burner, right? When I'm in this mode, I minimize social contact. I don't have my girls' nights. I don't hang out with friends. I'm too busy. I've got things to do. I'm just booked. So if any of you have done this, I'd be curious. You're welcome to acknowledge in the chat if any of you also suffer from the occasional bouts of workaholism. Um, I'm pretty sure I'm not talking to just me when I talk about that. So I would get in this mode of being the workaholic when my kids were little. And so, unfortunate for me, they learned that word early. They weren't learned that word early on. But the benefit of being the parental workaholic is that kids force you to take a break. So even though I was working long hours and I was getting up early and doing things, at some point I had to stop and make dinner. I had to get the kids to karate. I had to put them to bed. So most of my kids growing up, I was a single parent. So I didn't have a partner who could do those things for me, which meant while it was not self-care, it was childcare, but at least it forced me to take a break. I had to stop. Even then, I was not going to do chicken nuggets every night for dinner. I had some self-worth, self-preservation, I don't know. So my kids are older now. They're all grown up, and a couple of years ago, my middle child, he's my boomerang child, so he left the house, and then after a couple years he came back while he figured out his next step, and now he's gone again. But in that period of time that he was home again, I had fallen back into my workaholic mode again. So this is just in the last couple of years, guys. This is really recent. And I was in that phase of I wasn't doing any cooking and I wasn't hanging out with people and friends. And now, granted, we were in a bit of the COVID era, so I had an excuse when it started. I didn't have an excuse for how long it lasted. But I also wasn't exercising. So for those of you who used, actually, let me just ask this. Did any of you use COVID to like get into your best shape ever? Are any of you those people? And again, Facebook is not showing me comments. I'm so sorry, guys. I love talking with you and seeing the comments, and I don't know why it's not cooperating. It's telling me there are comments, but it's not showing them to me. So I may sneak on another page while we do this. This might be a somewhat disruptive Training Tuesday, but I kind of want to see what you guys are saying. So anyway, we'll see if I can get to that. I was in this phase of, I'm seeing some of the comments. Yes, hyper focus. Absolutely. I would get into this phase and I was in this phase not too long ago where I was just working all the time. Now, I was seeing results. My business was growing. I was producing more actual quality product that I could see, and things were happening, and I was pretty happy with that. But I literally had zero social contact. I had zero exercise and zero diet. And so I was physically feeling kind of bleh. I wasn't physically feeling good. I was just like doing things. And initially my son was just like dropping hints. It was, you're always at your desk, Mom, as he was passing by. And it was gosh, don't you ever take a break? And then eventually it was, are you going to make something for dinner? now, now he's at an age, and my other son who lives with me is at an age where they don't need me to make them dinner. They like it when I cook, but they are both perfectly capable cooks and they don't need me to cook, and they know that. So it's not like they ask for dinner because they truly want to know what's for dinner. He was poking at me. And I was laughing it off. And it got to the point where he literally sat down with me. Now, my middle son is probably my only child who does mom interventions. He's, of my three, he's the only one who will actually sit down with me and say, we gotta talk. And he's only done that a couple of times, but this was one of those times where he sat me down and said, you have to stop this because you are working when I leave for work and you are working when I get home from work. So I know you're not doing anything but working, and this isn't good for you. Now, in the face of that, that's like, sure, I'm working just like he's working, right? So what's wrong with that? Nothing. It seems reasonable. The reason it stopped me when he said that, one, is because he sat me down to actually have the conversation. And so I pay attention when he does that. And two is because David works overnights, or he did at the time. So he would leave the house between 6 and 9 o'clock at night, and he didn't come home till between 5 and 8 a.m. in the morning. And his shift always started somewhere in that window and always ended somewhere in that window. So when he's saying I'm working when he leaves, he means when he's leaving the house at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, I'm still at my desk. And he works all night, and then when he comes back at 6, 7 in the morning, I'm already working. And that's what made me stop and go, okay, so I'm already feeling unhealthy in my body, and I'm already feeling not, so I wasn't healthy about what I was eating. I wasn't feeling strong or healthy about my physical strength, like the working out, which used to be something really important to me, and I just kind of let it go. So I was like, he's right, I got to make an effort. So this is when I talk about extremes. I don't know if you guys are like this. If you are, again, I can't see all the comments, but I'm looking in multiple places, so I'm trying. But when I'm in, I'm all in. I'm 120% in. So I swung the other way. Instead of being the workaholic, I was now the funaholic. In a very short time, I turned around scheduling my weekend time. So I was always going out, doing activities, hanging out with friends. I got a new boyfriend, started doing activities and hanging out with him. I was filling up my time with friends, with the boyfriend, with yoga. I was starting to run again. I was starting to do like all the fun things now. And I was filling my work hours with what my coach calls the BAM, the bare minimum. Literally the bare ass minimum. And that's how I was approaching work. I was just like, well, I just need to get the 5 things done, and if I check those off today, work is done and I'm good. I was just keeping things moving forward enough that they were moving forward. But I wasn't growing my business as I had hoped. I wasn't expanding my own personal growth, knowledge, research, all the things I spend time doing in order to be better at my job, to be better at my business. Stuff wasn't happening. And after a while, I started to feel unsettled and unhappy, but I couldn't initially pinpoint why. All I knew was that I was getting up in the morning. Well, I wasn't excited to get up in the morning. I would literally lay in bed and think through can I call in sick today? If I took today off, what would that look like? Like I would think about those things. And that's not who I am. I'm not that person. So that's where I knew something was wrong, because usually I am the up at 5 a.m. and let's get the world going. Let's get moving. I love mornings. And I had this whole period of time where I was not loving mornings, but it wasn't morning. I just didn't want to get up. I didn't want to do anything. I wasn't excited. What I was avoiding. I'd filled my whole calendar and my whole day up with the fun self-care stuff, because I decided I'm not taking enough care of myself, so now I'm going to do all the things that I count as taking care of myself. And I filled my calendar with that instead. So in other words, I had a terrible sense of balance in my life. And the result of that is I felt like something was wrong with me now. So I don't know if any of you have felt this way. And again, I'm trying to find the comments, but if you have, do say so in the comments, because if I can't find them now, I will read them later. But have you ever felt so out of balance with your work-life balance that maybe it wasn't the work that was out of balance, but it was actually the play? Because I was in this place where the happy stuff wasn't making me happy anymore. And I couldn't get motivated for the work stuff. So it felt like my life was stalling. And here's the thing. I knew what I was supposed to be doing. Like I knew what I should do. I knew what I should do. And I'm willing to bet if you've ever been in this position, you also know what you should be doing, right? We know what we should be doing, but I wasn't doing it. I had fallen into this pattern of self-care activities, but they were supporting this sort of limiting belief pattern in my head. They were supporting the rationalizations of why I wasn't doing the things. It was like I had this thought in my head. It wasn't crystal clear, but as I started to tease it apart, it became clear. I had this thought in my head that if I wanted to have a full social life and a boyfriend and do yoga and go running, I was going to have to sacrifice my work. In my head, I couldn't have both. And so instead of trying to find a way to create a balance that worked for me, I just went from one extreme to the other extreme. I was either a workaholic or I became a funaholic. And it turned out that neither one made me happy. But I was in this pattern of all these fun things and had to realize that when my self-care routines, when my self-care activities were interrupting my life, like my life care, it's not self-care anymore. Like I literally turned my self-care into non-self-care, because with those routines, with those patterns of supporting my social life more than anything else, supporting my relaxation activities more than other things, I was creating an imbalance. And now it wasn't self-care anymore. It was actually what was holding me back. So what I'm sharing with you is because we in the justification of self-care mode, we can take it to a place where it actually disrupts our ability to be productive and be effective. And that's where I was at. And you guys know me. So yes, of course I talked to my coach. And I told her how badly I was feeling and how unmotivated I was feeling and that things weren't working. And I had that victim mentality, right? The universe is not cooperating with me. The universe is not helping me. My business isn't growing. And I'm just not able to get around to do those things. And I was feeling icky. And she did not tell me to go take a bubble bath. She did not tell me to go to yoga and meditate on it or hang out with friends and get them, to tell you nice things to feel good. She did not tell me to indulge in retail therapy, which is my favorite form of therapy. She asked me, so who are you? Who are you? Now, I don't know if you can answer this question, but I could answer this question because I've done a whole lot of work. Part of it comes from my coaching, right? From coaching with you guys, as well as my own coaching background and having a coach. I've done a lot of work to figure out like the who I am and the who I want to be. I have it written down. And if you're a client of mine, you should have it written down too, because these are things we work on. So the whole who do I want to be? How do I want to lead in the world? What's the impact I want to make? Well, she asked me to tell her, what's my answer to that? And I told her. And her response to me was, then go be her. Go be that person. And here's the thing. That works. That actually works. You go be the person that you want to be. But if it were easy, this would be one easy step to do hard things. And it's not always that easy. When we're mired in, whether it's the workaholic side or the funaholic side, when we are mired in a pattern of behaviors that are limiting our ability to go out there and do more and be more across the spectrum, it is not easy to go from stalling, avoiding, a little bit of the victim mindset or fear to right into fire, ready, aim, I'm in action. It can be hard to make that leap. Because at that stage, and this is where I was, self-confidence is eroded, self-belief is limited. I lost touch, and I've talked about this with you guys before. I lost touch a little bit with just my values and my goals, the why I was trying to go after the things I wanted to go after, the why I wanted to be that person. But I can promise you that another episode or 10 episodes of Lucifer and your Ben and Jerry's pint is not going to help you get there faster. That I know. So sometimes you've just got to do the thing. Do the thing, because the self-care matters, and it's important when it is feeding us and giving us energy and the good vibes, and it's making us happy. And that's all wonderful. But there is something that matters to us more. Do you know what that is? What matters more than self-care and happiness? There is something that matters more than that. So please drop it in the chat if you have a guess at what it is. I am trying to find your comments just to see if I can catch up. But what matters more than self-care and happiness? Can I see the comments? This is the question. Comments. Can I see them? Facebook is not my friend today, guys. All right. I would love to see your guesses of what it is that matters more. I'm going to tell you. Obviously, I'm going to tell you what matters more. And they've done studies on this, Gallup polls on this, and TED Talks on this, and Harvard Business Review studies on this. There is something that matters more. More critical to our quality of life, to our overall sense of well-being and fulfillment, is doing things that give us meaning. Living according to our sense of purpose, the giving of our energy and effort and attention to something that has an impact. Doing things that give you meaning. That leads to greater fulfillment, greater overall satisfaction in your life than just things that make you happy. Which means doing your thing. Doing your thing, whatever your thing is. So when my coach asked me, who are you? So who are you? I had to sit there and go, you know what? I'm not actually that social butterfly that I've been pretending to be for a very long time now. It's not my comfort zone. That's not who I am. And yes, it fed me for a bit. Then it started to drain me, right? My thing, my why I'm here, why I do this, the thing is my desire to ensure that all women and girls have the self-empowerment and the knowledge and the resources available to them to do their thing. That is literally what's written in my mission statement, my vision statement for myself personally and for my business. Is my thing is to teach and to coach, to help women take advantage of my corporate experience, my corporate leadership skills, my experience as a mother, as a daughter, as a partner, as a friend, as a woman who's been in leadership positions in a room full of men, to use everything that I know, all my experiences, everything I've learned, all I have to offer, to help other women step forward into whatever their thing is. Saying that, just telling you that, right? Just saying that, it gets me excited. It lights me up. Does it make me happy? Yeah, it makes me happy. The idea that I have an impact with my clients, that I can help them succeed, that I can help them do more and be more and help them have a bigger impact totally makes me happy. But it's beyond that. It's beyond that. It is also a sense of meaning and purpose, that I can have an impact on others in a positive way. That is a much bigger vision and a much bigger perspective than whether or not I made it to yoga, than hanging out with friends who I love and adore, and my bucket would not be filled without them. So I'm not minimizing the other aspects of my life. What I'm saying is they feed each other. They feed each other. At some point, I needed to get into action and get out of what I thought was fun, because that version of self-care wasn't serving me. Getting into action meant I had to start living my purpose again, which meant I had to reconnect with it, and I had to start doing the things, which meant the bare minimum of getting my job done during the day wasn't enough anymore. I had to start doing the things. So I promised you the simple things, right? The 5 simple things to get into action. What did I have to do? First, number one thing, I had to get clear about who I was and who I want to be in this life, which meant while I had written my vision statement and my purpose statement and all this good stuff down and the principles for how I want to live, I had written all this down. I've done all the work. I had to go back and revisit it and say, is this still me? Is this still who I want to be? The answer was yes for me, by the way. It may not be for you. It may be time to revisit and rewrite those statements. But I had to get clear about who I want to be. You have to get clear not about who you were, not about where you failed, not about where you tried or where you never tried. You have to be clear about the kind of woman and the kind of leader you intend to be. What is she going to do? What does she want to do? She, by the way, does not worry about imposter syndrome. Not a thing for her. Yeah, voices in her head, fine. We're going to keep them quiet for now because she's got things to do. What are they? So one is get really clear about who you are and who you intend to be. 2, I said to you, I knew the things I had to do. I knew, you know what you need to do to take the next step. You know what you need to do to move forward. What you may be dealing with is the same challenge I had, which is it got to feel big and a little overwhelming. And so I would look at, I want to redesign my course. Oh, that's a lot of work. Redesigning a course is a lot of work. And so in my head, it was like, if I can't get it done in the next 5 to 7 days, then forget it. It's too much. It's too hard. I'm too busy. No. That's not how we get into action. So I had to break it down. And I mean, really break it down. So what I'm saying is, I know what I had to do. You know what you have to do. To get out of overwhelm, we break it down into literally 15-minute increments or less. If the step you map out for yourself of what happens next takes more than 15 minutes, cut it in half. You got to break it down. Because you would be amazed when you're focused how much you can do in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I literally started breaking down the steps. First step when I was redesigning my course was looking at my existing course and figuring out what are the modules that are going to stay and what are the modules I want to update. So I set aside 10 minutes to just look at my course and say, here's what I'm keeping. I had yes, no's, and maybes for my modules. And that was all I did the first time. And boom, check. First task done. Now I can go do something else. I can go take a breather, whatever, before I come back to the next task, another 10 or 15 minute task. I had to get rid of the all or nothing mindset and really break it down into small steps. And you're going to initially be very resistant to this because you're going to feel like it's not going to be enough. Oh, it's totally enough. Your resistance is going to say, I need more time. And then your schedule's going to tell you you don't have enough time. And then we get in that vicious circle again. So just If you do nothing else, trust me. Put the timer on for 10 minutes, for 5 minutes, not more than 15. Focus on the one task and see how far you get. That's step number 2. Now, step number 3 was I had to get that monkey off my back that said it's still too much. I can create the schedule. I can create the 15-minute tasks and increments. I had to get my head, my mindset around how I was going to feel when it was done. So you know how we go through that thing where we don't want to do something, we anticipate not a great conversation. We anticipate this is going to be really hard and knotty to work through. And so in our head, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we definitely don't want to do it. Well, then break it down. All I'm going to do for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to make that one phone call. Just that one phone call. So I would take a moment before I set my 10-minute timer and I would say, I am going to be so glad when this 10 minutes is over. I'm going to be so relieved to have that conversation done. I'm going to be just so glad to check it off and not have to think about it ever again. But I would take a minute to just envision, how will I feel when I can actually check that box and move on and move forward? So take a minute to envision, what does your future look like in 10 minutes if you get this thing done? That's 3. Mindset, envision the future. Step 4, I had to suck it up. Seriously. I was an adult. I am an adult. You're an adult. This is an actual step. Suck it up. And step 5, I am not above bribery. And neither are you. I had to find ways to celebrate. We'll call it celebrate, not bribery. Celebrate each step. Literally reward yourself for every 10-minute task you check off. Every one. You make a difficult phone call, you now want a Snickers bar, go eat the Snickers bar. I'm not judging on diet right now, right? For me, it's always a bag of chips, right? You get 3 10-minute tasks done in a morning or in a time frame, and you want to watch an episode of Succession, go for it. Reward yourself, whatever the reward is. I had a couple of rewards where once I got 2 tasks done, I went to go walk my dog. Because walking my dog, it just calms me. It puts me in a soothing state of mind. It may not feel like a great reward, but it is actually one for me. Whatever your rewards are, whatever it is, 15 minutes of watching stand-up comedy, right? Making yourself a smoothie, whatever it is. But after each 10 to 15 minute step, you check it off and you go reward yourself. Because here's the deal. What we're trying to do is get the momentum of doing moving. When you get the momentum rolling and you start getting into that habit of doing, 1, you get your mojo back. Suddenly you're like, this is why I do this thing. This is why I love doing this. The minute I started actually taking my coursework and saying, these are the modules I'm keeping, so I'm picking them up and I'm putting them into the new module format. Now I can see what the gaps are. What are the new lessons I have to create? What are the new worksheets I have to build out? Now I know what my next to-do list is. And the minute I started getting into the work, I was excited all over again. I was like, this is why I love this stuff. This is great stuff. I can't wait to share this. But I had to get into the habit of doing again to reconnect with some of that juice. So what we're trying to do with this, by breaking it down into the little baby chunks, is to just get you in the habit of doing. And the first 2, 3, 5 tasks you do might feel grindy, and yes, I have to do it, and I'm just checking it off because my coach made me. Fine. Let that be the reason. I'm checking it off because my coach made me. That's okay. I'm totally willing to hold you accountable for that. But do it. Reward yourself so that you do the next one. Because once you get a few of these under your belt, you're not going to need so many rewards, and you're going to work for longer than 10 and 15-minute increments. I guarantee it. So the 5 steps, and they are simple. Just take them a step at a time. Get clear about who it is you want to be, because she knows what she wants to do next. She knows exactly what to do. Take what she wants to do and break it into into baby steps, uber baby steps. Remind yourself before you get into it, breathe. This is what I'm going to feel like at the end of this 15 minutes. Suck it up and do it. Even if breathing through it doesn't get you to the happy place. If I'm going to be so happy when I make that call, maybe you won't be. Maybe it's still going to be a grind, but guess what? Suck it up, buttercup. You still have to get it done. 5, reward yourself. You know what? I just had that very difficult call. I lived. The person on the other end lived. I deserve an ice cream. Do it. Celebrate it. It's done. I never have to have that conversation again. Those are your 5 steps. So whether you're swinging far into the workaholic mode and you got to take a break, whether you're swinging far in the funaholic mode and you got to get back to work, we all get to a place where we feel like we're spinning our wheels. We're treading water. The next step has to be different. The next step has to be from the perspective of the woman and the leader that you want to be. Now, if, like I just explained, you struggle occasionally with the idea of balance and the boundaries, right? And that work-life balance, I'm going to remind you guys that Thursday night is the workshop. Free workshop, Thursday night, 6 o'clock Eastern time on balance and boundaries. It's called Enough Already. The workshop initially is from this perspective of we are already overworked. We say yes to everybody and everything they want from us. And it is time for us to find what is our personal balance of free time and work time. What works for us in terms of feeling rejuvenated and excited and being productive and getting the hard work done. And what are the boundaries we have to put in place to make it happen? So that's what the workshop is about on Thursday night. It's this Thursday. So the window to sign up is really just for the next 36 hours. It is going to be a hands-on workshop. We are actually going to do the exercises in the workshop together. So it's going to be a group exercise. You will be getting to know each other by name and sharing. So I'd love to have you join the workshop. It makes it a lot of fun when we have a few people in there who are willing to share where they're at with their balance, how we practice our boundaries and setting our boundaries. So this workshop is going to be both the mindset around how are we thinking about this, as well as the practical skills of how do you actually say to somebody, you've crossed a boundary. How do you hold a boundary with somebody, especially people who are close to us? Because those are always the hardest. It's always hardest to hold a boundary with a partner, a mother, a friend. So we will go through actual scripts and ways of practicing this, and then we'll work through what's the best way for you to say it so that you feel it and you own it. So the Balance and Boundaries workshop. Enough Already. Balance and Boundaries workshop is this Thursday. There are links on the group page and everything. You can find it. If you need a link, just drop in the chat boundaries, and I will send you the link to the workshop. Actually, drop the word workshop, not boundaries, workshop in the chat. And I will send you the link to register for the workshop. It's this Thursday night at 6 o'clock. Otherwise, if you are overindulging in self-care, it's time to stop. Get yourself back on track. If you are a workaholic, it's time to stop. Let's get you back on track. I hope this training tonight helps. And if you want a little bit more support around this, definitely join us Thursday. It's going to tackle this in much more detail. All right, ladies, thank you for joining Training Tuesday. As always, my favorite night. Good to see you. And because I missed probably most of the comments, because like I said, I can see there are comments. I can't see the comments. I will go through them and respond to you. I love that you guys comment even when I can't see them. So have a great Tuesday, and thank you for joining.